ABC6 News 11 at 11 starts right now.
Right now at 11 at 11, multiple crime scenes in a Massachusetts city with 4 people dead. Police now saying the victims are all related, what we know so far.
Plus, the brothers from Jamaica who died after jumping off Jaws Bridge remembered tonight in a vigil. And footprints 113 million years old uncovered in Texas, what appeared at Dinosaur Valley State Park. You might want to stick around just to see if I can pronounce the name of it. We'll get to those stories shortly, but first tonight at 11 at 11, the heavy downpours which led to localized flash flooding, literally shutting down 195 west at the East Providence line. That closure right during the height of the afternoon commute. It was a whopper, and by a whopper I mean some 3 hours long. Traffic at a complete standstill, which I can vouch for. I was right in the middle of it, watching RIDOC crews working hard to shovel and pump their way to clear that debris, clogging storm drains, along with trucks to get the vital roadway back open, which happened right around 5:30. Well, that flooding was not exclusive to 195. Our ABC6 News viewers sharing some incredible photos and videos from their area. Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm John DeLuca. And I'm Tiffany Murphy. East Providence really taking the brunt of the storm, getting about 4 inches of rain in just a matter of hours. ABC6 News reporter Daniel Coates has been in East Providence all day long. He joins us from one of the neighborhoods hardest hit. Daniel?
Yeah, Tiffany, residents tell me that if you rewind to 7 hours ago, this street, Laura Street in East Providence, was pretty much a river. Some estimate 6 feet high at some point. And you can tell, you can see some signs from that river that they were talking about. You can see some of the runoff, some of the mud, some of the stones, and that goes all the way down Laura Street. Now, one really interesting thing that can gauge just how much water this neighborhood got is if you look at the white fence behind me, you can see the water lines. That's about 4 feet above the street level. Again, residents tell me that at some point that got to what they think was 6 feet. Now, this is just one example of a neighborhood that was hit really hard by the flooding, but this was really not just an exception here. It happened all across the city.
Within 1 hour, we got all the rain that we missed this summer.
East Providence neighborhoods feeling the brunt of intense downpours and flooding Tuesday evening, with over 4 inches of rain throughout the day.
The pipes couldn't handle the capacity of the water. It was just too much water.
The city's mayor and chief of police say today's flooding was unlike anything they've ever dealt with in the past.
The earth was so dry, the water wasn't seeping in. It was just coming right off into the roads.
Between 3 and 6 p.m., we responded to probably, it was roughly 100 calls for service. The majority of those calls were people stranded in vehicles, in water.
Some of the most severe flooding across the city came from Dewey Avenue, Grosvenor Avenue, and Laura Street, where neighbors estimated the water to nearly 6 feet high at one point, moving vehicles from their driveways.
The first couple cars were over here on one side of the street, and someone was trying to help someone who was already, the water was up to her doors. By the time we came in with this one, this couple that came in, and then I looked out my front, and I'm like, there's another floating car.
Another Laura Street resident was blocked off from her home and said the neighborhood has dealt with flooding before, but never to this degree.
I've been waiting 3 hours to get back here. My fence is ruined on the side. The water has come up to like, that's got to be almost like 4 feet high. My cellar's flooded right currently, and I don't know why they don't try to fix this problem.
The mayor and chief of police tell me that their next step is to continue to work with the Department of Public Works across the city to ensure the safety and well-being of city residents. In East Providence, I'm Daniel Coates, ABC6 News.
Thanks, Daniel. So let's take a look again at just how bad things got along 195. Cars partially submerged, people thigh deep in water, others sitting for hours like John in their vehicles while traffic was at a complete standstill. We did need the moisture, but really not like this. ABC6 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Jeff Denoyer joining us tonight. Wow, a lot of rain in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, wow, exactly. And Mayor Bob DeSilva from East Providence says something very important there, is that it's been very dry. That ground was like concrete. So when the rain came down heavy, instead of soaking into the ground, it was just excessive runoff. And that's why we had so much flooding across the area. Some of the images are just jaw-dropping, but look at the rain totals. I mean, Rehoboth, what is this? 7 inches of rain today alone. I'm not even factoring in yesterday. Attleboro, 4 inches, and there's your East Providence, 4 inches plus. Rumford, 4 inches plus. Even in Providence, over 2 inches. But TF Green, just 0.66. Providence and TF Green, not the same location, of course. Let's take you into Greenville and Cranston, over 2 inches of rain, and then you take it all the way down to the bottom. And westerly, you finally got almost a half an inch of rain this evening. And I got incredible lightning pictures coming up from westerly in Maine weather to share with you. It's unbelievable. So obviously this area kind of missing out. And then areas that had the heaviest of rain right along this path right here, right through East Providence and areas back towards Norton and Taunton, that rainfall coming down heavy. One last little shower, but it's going to miss us. It's going into Worcester County. So the rain is done tonight, just some patchy fog, mid to upper 60s. And then tomorrow, sunshine galore, warm, not humid. Temperatures in the mid to upper 80s once the fog burns off. And we'll see if there's another opportunity for rain before the weekend is coming up in your full forecast. John?
All right, Jeff, we'll see in just a bit. Thank you. The severe weather, not just here, but also in Texas, where some places got 15 inches of rain in 24 hours. It's a historic flooding event for that state. Now that threat is expanding east. Here's Morgan Norwood.
Those record-breaking storms, which dumped historic rainfall on parts of the Southwest, now shifting east, bringing those torrential downpours and the risk for flash flooding with it.
Looks like a river.
It comes after the Dallas-Fort Worth area received the most rain over a 24-hour period in nearly a century on Monday. Hundreds of calls for help, dozens of homes damaged. The governor of Texas declaring a state of emergency for nearly 24 counties.
Needless to say, the effect of this storm has been dramatic here in Dallas, in Fort Worth, but across multiple regions around the state of Texas.
In Winona, Texas, cleanup now underway after a twister touchdown and tore through a neighborhood and school.
It just goes to show Texas weather can shift on us. I mean, we go from one extreme to the other.
And in Mesquite, just east of Dallas, 60-year-old Jolene Jarrell killed after her vehicle was swept away. Friends telling ABC affiliate WFAA the mother of 3 was an Uber driver and that before she was killed, she was on the phone with her husband, saying it felt like someone was pushing her car. And tragically, searchers in Utah finding the body of Jatal Agnihotri Monday, missing after flash flooding rushed through Zion National Park over the weekend. Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Los Angeles.
New tonight on 11 at 11, 4 people dead across 3 crime scenes in what police believe is a murder-suicide in Lynn, Massachusetts tonight. Police found 2 men dead after responding to Rockaway Street for reports of gunfire this afternoon. They determined the suspect was a 31-year-old woman who shot and killed herself in a Stop and Shop parking lot around 4:30. Investigators later found a man dead inside a vehicle on Layton Street. All of the victims are related to each other. A Canadian man arrested for brutally attacking his mother in Middletown was in court today. Hushang Azimi arrested for assaulting his 61-year-old mother while she was driving and then chasing her down as she tried to run away from him. According to a witness who spoke with ABC6 News, Azimi punched and kicked his mother on the porch of a home. She is now in critical condition. Azimi arraigned today on charges of domestic assault. He's also being held on $150,000 surety. He also has to surrender his passport and have no contact with his mother. The owner of Ballard's now appealing a 2-week liquor and entertainment license suspension imposed by the New Shoreham Town Council last night. The suspension comes after a brawl at Ballard's and on the ferry 2 weeks ago on Victory Day that led to multiple arrests. Now, if the suspension holds, it will impact the busy Labor Day weekend holiday for the island hotspot. Ballard's appeal to the Department of Business Regulation was heard today at 2 o'clock. As soon as a decision is made, you can count on hearing the results from ABC6 on air and online.
New tonight at 11 o'clock, a vigil wrapping up just a short time ago for the 2 men who tragically drowned last week off the coast of Martha's Vineyard. The 2 brothers, Tavarius and Tavon Bolgen, drowned after jumping off the Jaws Bridge. They never resurfaced. Both men were from Jamaica, working as seasonal employees at a vineyard restaurant. Their family flew in from Jamaica to host that vigil.
Now to our election coverage, Your Voice, Your Vote 2022. Candidates for governor making their pitches to voters today with a focus on the issues impacting our children in Rhode Island. The gubernatorial forum, which was hosted by our very own Good Morning Providence anchor Doreen Scanlon, touching on all kinds of children-based topics, including funding for Head Start, paid leave, and early intervention childcare. All of the candidates campaigning on a common message. Children will be a priority for whatever they do.
Unlike Governor McKee, I'll prioritize naming permanent directors to DHS and DCYF. I won't leave the agencies understaffed chronically.
We have a system that doesn't work. And even when we look at the recent actions the governor took to fill some of the 90 open positions at DCYF, where did they come from? From the nonprofit organizations that were serving the children and the families. It didn't solve the problem.
I will make sure that we have a government where the leadership listens to the people involved in these issues.
We need to make sure that we have universal pre-K. The other thing that we need to do is we need to pay based on enrollment versus based on attendance. Those things will help significantly in stabilizing childcare. We need to expand who you can take leave for grandparents, for other members of your family, because the reality is that family structures are different.
Now, Governor McKee could not attend in person after testing positive for COVID on Saturday. He had this recorded video message to show at the forum. Well, the three Democratic candidates for Providence mayor facing off today in a debate: Gonzalo Cuervo, Nerva LaFortune, and Brett Smiley, taking questions while giving their views on how to move the city forward, including turning around failing schools in the city as well as school safety, and whether they support having student resource officers.
I support it as a resource available to the schools, but I support some changes to the program. We need to do a much better job of training administrators, teachers, and everybody in the school, all the adults in the school building, about what the SRO is there for and what the SRO is not there for.
I do not support the presence of school resource officers in our schools. We should be allocating resources to help our kids that have troubled behavior, and a police officer like that should be on the street, patrolling the streets, keeping the community safe.
SROs have been used as behavioral management tools, and they're not. Some of them are not even trained to work with students. We need to make the investments and also provide our young people with the social and emotional support and services that they need so that they can thrive.
The debate was sponsored by the Providence Rotary Club. Early voting for Rhode Island's primary starts tomorrow. Still to come tonight at 11, farmers in Rhode Island could be in line for some federal dollars to help them make ends meet tonight. A look at a longtime farmer in Cranston who could really use that help, and his real-time reaction to getting rain today. It is priceless.
Plus, a discovery of prehistoric proportion, the enormous fossils uncovered down south that will soon be underwater.
And Bristol Billy driving the green tonight with his speech while accepting the coveted Payne Stewart Award for all of his work off the course. Nicholas Nicky will have that for you in minutes. You're watching ABC6, Southern New England's trusted news source.